Hi guys, welcome back to the Forgetful Scholar, and this week we're going to do one book. And excuse my throat, and today I'm going to be a heavy mouth breather because it is pecan season, and that means my nose ceases to work, ceases to be a functional part of my body. They shake the pecan trees, and I die. I am dead. Boo. Okay, wait. Books. One book this week. Matchmaking Madam. That's what I'm always going to think about when I see this book on my shelf. It is Suddenly You by Kleypas. And I think that's the original cover. And this is, the re-release cover or the modified cover. Yeah, I'm like hyped up on Benadryl. So this is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to have to cut out a lot of tangents, I'm sure. And probably leave in a lot more because I feel like shit, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Anyway, and yeah, my hair looks like a dead octopus on top of my head, or some kind of manic horns, which is, a happy coincidence, a happy accident, like me. Anyway, right. Historical FM romance. This one is weird. I'm going to tell you the star rating at the end. So this follows Amanda and Jack. And Amanda is a novelist. And I always think it's fun or like interesting. I always think it's like a little window into an author's psyche when they write one of their characters being an author, And there's this one scene where Amanda and Jack, who's a publisher, are fighting over the scene that she says is necessary for character development. And he's like, it breaks up the pacing. And they have an argument about it, which, she ends up burning the page in the fireplace. I was like, wow, dramatic much. I love it. Also, I wondered if Kleypas ever did that. Or if that's like a wish fulfillment moment. You know what I mean? I hope you guys can hear me because I'm talking as loud as I can on this non-existent voice box right now. So in the beginning, I really liked it. Oh, I really liked it. I was like, yes, this is going to be a 5-star. She's giving, the author is giving as much attention to the hero as the heroine, and both are so fascinating. Jack, I really like Jack, and his character didn't change in the book, so I liked him throughout. He sort of always has this teasing glint in his eyes, but he is a driven businessman, and he basically made a publishing empire in just a couple of years, and there's a lot of childhood backstory, and this came out in 2001, at least this book with the cover. Well, anyway, it came out in 2001, so spoilers, tough tootsies. Fuck, I'm so tired. I'm not really tired. It's just the Benadryl makes me very sleepy. Anyway, yes, I like Jack. And he has like a tragic childhood backstory. And it shows a lot of his character of a protector in that backstory. I did wish he told the backstory, but his best friend kind of told Amanda it. And I'm like, okay, that's all right. It's not a big deal. It's fine. It's fine. Amanda is a very practical, stubborn woman, and I was excited about it. At first I was a little wary because she describes herself as very practical, very stubborn. And I was like, oh, please don't tell me it's going to be one of those times where the author has the character describe their characteristics that we don't see them in the book. But this time, we see them in the book, at least for the first 250 pages. Because after that, I don't fucking know what happened to Amanda. Because she completely became a different character. And like a different personality. And like the last 2 chapters were not necessary. One made me hate Amanda even more for being a hypocrite. And the other one, trigger alert, contains a miscarriage. Which was not needed to further the plot. In that paragraph, in that chapter, they exchanged I love yous, right? But like, I could think of one other place that would have been so much better, and I would have squealed and would have been happy, and I would have left this book at like a 5-star, 4-star, right? Okay, so Amanda is a spinster at 30. Oh, fuck you, okay. Also is 1836, you know, and she's a successful novelist, and she finds freedom in being a spinster. And I'm like, ooh, I'm loving this. This is such a different character. Yes, 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 let's go, you know? And she really doesn't, in the beginning, she really doesn't bow to societal norms for herself. She's just like, oh, I'm a spinster and I'm on the shelf, but I like being a spinster because it gives me a certain amount of freedom. And the thing is, she states very clearly, she does not want a marriage like her sisters, who married men that they weren't in love with, right? And the book that brings her and Jack really together is about a woman trapped in a loveless marriage, the unfinished lady, trapped in a loveless marriage to the point where, like, she does dangerous things, takes a lover, gets a disease, dies. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, this story, in the story, is going to be sort of an analogy of them figuring their shit out, right? No. So why I'm always going to think of this as Matchmaking Madam. In the prologue, which I loved, Amanda goes to a madam to order a male SA worker for her own birthday, her own 30th birthday. And I was like, ooh, girl, love it. And I really liked how Amanda seemed to have more liberal or modern views, but still she didn't feel like a modern day character shoved in a historical novel. Because sometimes that happens. And that drives me nuts. But that didn't happen here. So I really, really liked her. Like, please understand how disappointed I was in the middle of this book. The Madam is releasing sort of a tell-all, but like the names have been changed to protect the guilty kind of a thing. So she's not only a client of Jack's, but a friend. And the madam thinks that these two will be perfect together. So she's just a little mischievous and sends Jack over instead of one of her male workers. So Amanda thinks this is the S worker, right? Big confusion. They get a little down though. And I did like how he didn't go all the way without telling her the truth, because they were getting serious about it. Like, things were heating up, and I was like, wow, this is the first third of the book that's not really like Lisa Kleypas. And I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel if he sleeps with her under false pretenses. But he stops himself, you know, even though he stops himself and excuses himself, and they meet again, and she realizes like who he is, and she's furious. And I'm like, rightfully so, I get it. I did think she went a little too much, but also at the same time, because through Jack's point of view, he's like, sorry, I had to move around. I hurt my knee a while back and it's still not completely healed. He's a huge fan of her books, her novels that really contain very passionate people. So he's convinced that underneath that button-up spinster facade, she's a very passionate person. And I think her blowing this misunderstanding out so much was sort of a subtle way for the author, Lisa Kleypas, to show us that there's more depths to Amanda, you know? And I enjoyed that. Like, I like subtle character clues and development. Like, I thought that was a lot of fun. Okay, and there is this scene where a sword-wielding, pissed-off lord of, like a peer of London shows up because of the Madam's book, and he's furious, and he's like slicing and dicing Jack, and Jack's like bobbing and weaving, you know, and like she's calm as a cucumber, and I love that. There was no internal panic. There's nothing. She grabs a poker from the fireplace, hits him on the back of the head. He turns around because she didn't use enough force. So she's like, oh, and then she hits him again. And I loved how deadpan she was about it. How matter of fact she was about it. Like, she did not panic. There was no tears. There was no, oh no, I hurt somebody. It was like, well, it's a Tuesday, you know, and I like that. That's different. I really enjoyed that. Especially since we saw her very passionate with Jack in the love scene. So I was really, really vibing with Amanda. I was like, oh, she's going to be one of my favorite female characters, like, period. Like, she's fantastic, right? Okay, so they decide to do, become lovers. And she's like, in 3 months, we're going to end it. And I was like, oh, there's the trope. 3 months, they're going to end it. He's going to fight her on it. And he's going to, like, seduce her, but, like, really court her. And there we go. I'm like, okay, I can see it happening, but cute. I was wrong, which, you know, fun. But not fun at the same time. Okay. So she ends it early because I think it's her friend, Sophia, who's a widow, and not her actual sister. She just calls her sister. But, like, this is when the book became a different book, right? Because before that, the widow was trying to seduce Jack, but he rebuffed her. And clearly he was interested in Amanda. So I was like, oh, she might be, like, a petty mean girl about it. This could be interesting. No. But apparently, like, even though we've met these two characters before and they interacted before and they consider, like, Amanda considers Sophia a friend, she didn't do any internal monologue about Sophia being her cool, hip, older, worldly sister, yet that's what it's described in the middle of the book. I'm like, well, that's weird, because usually that stuff's kind of dumped on us in the beginning, or if you're really good, sprinkled throughout. So to have it dumped on in the middle was a little weird. But I didn't really think anything of it, right? And so Sophia convinces her to stop her affair with Jack. And I was like, bitch, she's got her own, like, ulterior motives, girl. What? That didn't happen. I think that would have been a fun, maybe a little cliche, but also a fun hiccup in the story. So she decides to stop seeing Jack. And Sophia's advice, even though she's a widow who writes, basically sounds like she writes romance novels, and takes lovers everywhere, is like, oh, well, you have to bow to societal norms. I was like, bitch, like, what are you talking about? You know, and she's like, so she breaks up with Jack, and Jack's furious and also brokenhearted, and he doesn't realize he's brokenhearted because, you know, he's a tough guy with a heart of gold hidden inside. You know I love those. You know I love those, right? Mixed with a lovable, teasing scamp. So, like, two of my favorite tropes, you know what I mean? For male heroes. So I'm all about it. I was like, okay, you know, we're doing the conflict in the middle of the book. A little different for our third act queen, but I'm here for it, you know. Lisa Kleypas usually does a third act conflict, not a second act conflict. So I'm like, okay, you know, this is an older one of her books, so maybe she's trying, like, a little something different. Let's go, you know. I was a little weirded out, not weirded out, but like, that doesn't really seem like Amanda, but maybe this is just, like, Amanda realizing she does have a more passionate nature and coming to grips with that, which I would have loved, right? No. See, this guy, I forget his name, Mr. Boring, he was introduced before, and I was like, oh, this is the guy that the main guy gets jealous over, and his jealousy, he realizes his love, you know what I mean? She lets him seriously court her, and she is like, okay, I'm going to marry him, and in a loveless marriage, because that's what people do, and that's what society does, and I have to conform. And I was like, bitch, who the fuck are you? You're not my Amanda. You're not the Amanda I, like, ride die for before this. What the fuck? Ooh, I went up to Minnie Mouse level. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That hurt. Okay. Oof. So, I was like, what the fuck, you know? And she finds out she's pregnant. Okay. So first she's like, oh, I'll go to France, make up a widowed, a dead husband, and it'll be fine. I'll raise the baby by myself. And I was like, that's perfectly sensible. You have your own income. You could work from France, you know. It's fine. That made sense to me. As a modern day woman, fine. And as a woman, and like modern day woman looking back on the 1800s, I was like, that's a smart plan. Protect yourself and your baby. You know, what else can you do, you know? And I was like, ooh, France is kind of close. Maybe go somewhere else too. Anyway, like, go to America. Hey, America, you know? But, Anyway, so I was like, okay, is Jack gonna follow her, find out about baby and stuff like that? And I don't mind secret babies because there's been some romance novels where there's been secret baby trope and like they've been so good, you know? And usually the reason they're secret babies are so good that I sympathize for the mother, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think it's shitty for the dad, but like, especially in the 1800s, like I understand, you know what I mean? And Mr. Boring is like, no, 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 I'll raise the other baby. Like, we should get married. She's like, and she doesn't love him. So she's going to be in a loveless marriage that she didn't want, that her sisters have, that her first novel that she's working on with Jack was like showing the dangers of it and how much it's not, you know what I mean? So I was like, wait a minute, what about the parallel of the book inside the book? What's going on here? You know, you had this theme set up. What's happening? So she agrees on one condition. Mr. Boring, who is a nice guy, is like, you have to tell Jack about it and let him know because I'm not going to cut him off if he wants to be a part of the baby's life. That's not right. And I was like, good for you, man. So she goes to Jack's office and they just argue and she doesn't tell him. And I was like, okay, maybe the big reveal will come at a different time. She just tells him she's going to marry someone else. Like, way to really stab the guy. You know what I mean? Like, wow. And then he goes to the event where they're going to announce the engagement. And the thing is, she told her fiance, she told him. She didn't. So I'm like, fuck you, Amanda. Like, seriously, fuck you. At this point, there's no sympathy I have for you doing this. Because, like, well, it really bugged me that she's lying to her fiance about it. You know what I mean? Because till then, they seemed like they were in it together. Equal partners, friendship, you know, respect. But that was, like, messed up. And then, like, Mr. Boring talks to Jack and, like, I'll take care of the baby. I'll love him as of my own. And Jack's like, what baby? You know what I mean? So Mr. Boring is like, yeah, I think we should call for the engagement. So Jack corners Amanda and she, like, till the end does not admit it, you know, until he's like, yeah, Mr. Boring told me. You know what I mean? And then they get married. And she's like, oh, I didn't. She acted like she didn't have a choice. I'm like, wait a minute, because Amanda from the first book wouldn't have lied about it. And at this point, she would have been stubborn enough to, like, go to France, you know, and have Jack follow you, you know, in the narrative, you know, and have a romantic kind of thing there. And I was like, that would have been a great moment to exchange I love yous and really mean it, you know. And when they get married, I was like, having that argument before that would have been a great time to, like, come clean with all their emotions, like, on the patio when he finds out. That would have been a great, like, ooh, moment of I love you. And I would have been like, okay, Amanda just had a panic. Let's not hate her guts. You know what I mean? But, like, that really rubbed me the wrong way. That she was lying to everybody, you know? Especially about something as important as a baby. Even back then, you know? And they didn't give enough of a good reason why she shouldn't tell Jack. It's just, she was mad that he wasn't jealous or didn't show that he was jealous. I was like, that's so petty. Like, this has to be a good reason, not a petty one, you know? Because I'm all for petty. Petty's fun. But, like, especially, you know, in literature, right? But, like, there has to be, like, a good reason for petty, and there wasn't one, right? Especially when we're in Jack's POV half of the time, and he's, like, completely heartbroken, and he's stepping away because he thinks Amanda will be happy with Mr. Boring. So he's doing what he thinks is the selfless thing. So her lying about it, I'm like, oh, fuck you. Fuck you, Amanda. I was riding for you. Now, you know, die in a ditch. Like, I was, like, done. I was like, what? And that could have been the end of it with the I love yous, and it would have been so cute, right? But then there's 2 chapters. So the first chapter just made me really pissed off about Amanda even more, right? There's a lot of gossip, rags about their marriage. They're happily married, and it shows Jack being really supportive of her, which could have been in the prologue. You know what I mean? You know, sets her up to, like, next chapter, he sets her up to be the first woman publisher. Something that, like, Mr. Bourne would not have done. Because it was very clear that he was very traditional. And I'm like, girl, you're probably not even going to be able to be a novelist if you marry him. Like, he's nice and everything, but he's super traditional. Like, You said it multiple times. Like, what? You know, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, come on. Oh gosh. Mickey Mouse voice again. Sorry about that. So it turns out Jack doesn't really know what his age is, so he thinks he's around 25. And in the first chapter, like when she thinks he's a male SA worker, he says, "Oh, I'm 31." You know. And she's furious that he lied to her. And I was like, bitch. Would you hear how deep that went? That hurt, but that felt satisfying. You lied to him about a baby. A baby is bigger than a 5-year or 6-year age discrepancy. Like, are you kidding me? Especially when, like, he didn't know you. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't know you at all. So, like, what the hell? You know? And I was like, you hypocrite bitch. Like, I was just like, no. I don't know what this chapter's for. It shows Jack being a sweetheart. But my God, what the hell, Amanda? Who are you? Body snatchers? Or this X in the back of your neck? Because the aliens? Because you came out of alien pod? Like, what is happening right now? And then the next chapter, he sets her up to be the first female publisher for one of his magazines. And she has a miscarriage. And it's super sad. I was like, why is this page in here? I don't find miscarriages triggering, but they make me cry. They make me cry. I know quite a few people in my life that had miscarriages. I haven't. And it is such a sad thing. Like, I'm getting tearing up just talking about it. And if you know me, I barely have emotions. So this, like, little teary-eyed is like another person sobbing. Okay? Okay. So, like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And then at the end of that chapter, they say I love yous and stuff like that. Was that sad ass chapter all for you guys to exchange I love yous? Fuck you. Like, that's horrible. You know what I mean? Was it so she wouldn't have a bastard? But she wasn't going to have a bastard. They were married. You know? They could have said he was premature. They did that all the time. And usually when, like, people are married, even at that time, there weren't really whispers about it. If there were whispers, no one's going to do that because Jack has become super powerful, both politically and business-wise. And, like, she's literally an adored romance, like, not romance, adored novelist, you know what I mean? I mean, I think, like, her sales for The Unfinished Lady, like, all that stuff, it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of, maybe at the height of Harry Potter craze, you know? Like, that much, you know? So I'm like, people aren't going to care. They're just going to think you're an eccentric artist, but it's okay because you married the guy anyway, so who cares? Like, it was just unnecessary. And I was like, Lisa Kleypas, come here, girl. Did you have a page quota? Because, like, you are a queen of romance novels, right? So if someone gives you a page quota, tell them to fuck off, okay? Because you're good, you know? This book was, like, a little under 400 pages, I think. Was it, like... No, I think, see, that was something else. Yeah, it's 375 pages, and the story goes to the end. There's no, like, next book sampler or anything like that. I was just like, wow, fuck you. And the prologue's cute, you know? You see their son that they have later, and everything like that. And they're really happy partnership marriage, which she wouldn't have gotten with Mr. Bourne. And I'm like, fuck, because the prologue is cute. Those 2 chapters made me homicidal and sad, and I'd rather be homicidal than sad. Take that as you will. And it could have ended 2 chapters earlier, you know, and it would have been like, Amanda, the character Amanda switched halfway through. She was, like, really fascinating, a really different character. She kind of reminded me of the first Hathaway book, like, the female, like, Amelia, I think, like that. And I was like, ooh, that's so fascinating. But did she get bored and change her personality? Did she put the book down and kind of forgot who Amanda was? Because it like switched into another person. And I did not like her after that. And I only got 1 book done because I've been crazy busy this week. Just work and like I was babysitting a dog for a friend, and I had a couple airport run to do, and like I had so many meetings. I was just so busy, and like as you can tell, allergies were killing me, so I only got one book done. I wanted to have another book, but I wouldn't have. I just couldn't, because like after, like around page 300, I put this down for a couple days, and I was like, fuck you. And I was like, oh yeah, this book, I gotta finish it. So there's that. So I hope you don't mind my Benadryl-induced ramblings. I don't want to, but what star did I give this? I think I gave it like a 3. Because I love the beginning. And the prologue was cute. So from page 250 and then like page 360 onward, those 2 sections I loved. The rest of it, I don't mind getting pissed off, but when you make me sad, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop now. I don't want too much time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.